So now I'm being joined by Rich. Rich, thank you very much for talking to me today. Excited to kind of pick your brains a little bit around when we're talking about the troubles when you have your data teams and your business teams and you're trying to get everyone in the organization to understand what everyone else is understanding can be challenging. So talk to me about how we're facing those issues and what organizations can do to marry up teams.
Yeah, sure. I think that so one of the biggest challenges of data, right, is you're fundamentally asking the business to work in a different way. Because unless someone changes their behavior, you're not going to get any value from your investment, right? So, and the challenge that you've got therefore is you've got to try and find a way of having the data teams and your business teams collaborate really effectively. But they talk different languages, right? So the data teams understand the potential of data, the capabilities, the constraints, and so on. And then the business teams understand they own the pain and the problem. They understand what the impact would be of solving it, what the practicalities of change might be. And so you need to find some way of collaborating. And so I think a really effective way on the data side is to really try and empathize with the business, right? To understand the business fears, constraints, ambitions, aspirations, etc. And on the business side, then data literacy plays a big role. So helping the business understand, and not focusing on the buzzwords, not talking about AI and so on, but getting past that and reducing the fear around data so we can have a good conversation. So data literacy is all really about helping the business understand how to have a good conversation, what data really means, and so on. And I think that really enables a really good conversation to be had.
Yeah, 100% agree. It's important for everyone to be singing from the same hymn sheet, if it were. So what are the kind of benefits then to marry up this, and whose responsibility is it to kind of lead the charge with that?
So I think the benefits are, I think a lot of people look at the data investment itself and look at the benefit cases for some of these things, like, what's the benefit case in data literacy itself, let's say. I think the challenge is when you do this, it's actually quite hard to connect that back to some sort of business alignment, some sort of business objective. Right? So I think you really need to start from the top and say, well, actually, what do we want to be as a business? So one of the ways that we overcome this is we use data domains, which are just kind of simple words that we use to help organizations think about where they want to be. So we talk about data domains as being, as a business, you want to be more informed, more intelligent, more efficient, more engaging, and more sustainable, right? So, and each of those words has connotations in the business world, but also in the data world. So you can essentially be talking about data initiatives, but also talking about business engagement at the same time. And I think in that way, the benefits case is really clear, because you can actually then start talking about, well, where would this take the business, right? What if we delivered a capability, how would we measure that in terms of maybe a reduction in churn or additional revenues or lower cost to execute and so on. So I think that's kind of where the business case has to be founded. It's in the business focus, not in the data and tech and all this stuff. Right? It's the enabler.
Yes.
It just enables us to go through a change, and it's that change that delivers the value. Right?
Yes, 100% agree, because we all know we're suckers for buzzwords and acronyms and everything else that we see going on. So talk to me a little bit more about that kind of data literacy journey that organizations can really go on. Yeah,
so in the early days, years ago when I was doing literacy, I think a lot of my focus was on the buzzwords. Right? It was on what does AI really mean? What does ML really mean? What does big data really mean? And these are the questions that just create barriers. Because I think if you're a business leader or a business stakeholder, when you look at the data world, you just met with this barrage of noise straight away and hype. Right? So I spent a lot of time early on kind of getting people a really good definition of what AI means, let's say. What you find then, of course, is it doesn't really matter. All you need to do is to reduce the fear around these words. And so we use the approach we use. We have a piece of content called Never Mind the Buzzwords, which is a really irreverent, light-hearted look at these buzzwords to say, this is what they really mean, but more importantly, this is what they can do, right? And at that point, you're into a better conversation. So you're over that hurdle of the hype, and you're into what it really means from a nuts and bolts perspective is this. So we try and show people that, getting a really good definition of AI from a business perspective doesn't matter. But getting past that definition to be able to talk properly and giving people like a structured language to have a good conversation, that's what you need to do in a data literacy piece.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Get those conversations going, and then we can see that advancements going forward. So, Rich, thank you very much for talking to me, explaining all of this. It's been great chatting.
Great, thanks, Max.
Thank you.